All right, friends of freedom, pioneers of human evolution. This is the first time we're doing this. This is like a podcast with friends of freedom that some of which I haven't personally met before. So that's kind of what's interesting and unique. You know, where we all came here from, let's say, like the Instagram live swipe up, and we're going to talk about whatever and just see what happens. Basically, I want to see what we can all get excited about. You know, like especially like what I want to research today or what experiment I want to do.
That I take it at the same time about like 9:30, and my sleep tracker's shown that my sleep's much better when I'm on that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. All right, anybody else using epamorelin?
I'm on AC262 right now.
Okay. All right, Junior and Ben are on AC262. Yeah. Has anybody else ever used epamorelin or an injectable growth hormone peptide like GHRP6, GHRP2, tesamorelin, and so on?
I have not, but I have used oral MK677 quite a bit. My only downsides with that would be the lethargicness you get from that throughout the day is pretty incredible. So it's tough that you take that in the beginning of the day. That's impressive to me, but taking that before bed is something that I really enjoyed to improve my REM cycle.
Yeah, if you take MK677 before bed, does it make you hungry at night at all? Or you sleep through the hunger and just get better sleep?
Yeah, it does. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm absolutely starving. Like I have the munchies from THC is something that I compare it to, but it definitely does increase the hunger. So I have to keep that very low dose before bed.
Ben is hiding his bong there, right there. Was that a bong, Ben?
I think, I'm actually in Australia and I'm prescribed.
Okay. Well, that's always the disclaimer. Like, oh, there's drugs. Oh yeah, I have a prescription, right?
No, I do actually. I got it like a month ago. Yeah.
Okay, sure you do.
For sleep.
No, I'm just kidding. Of course, yeah. Well, we should always get prescriptions for all the stuff that we use, for sure.
Tony, I think something that could be looked into is easily getting a TRT prescription. If you're just on SARMs and estrogen, you could easily get a TRT prescription.
Yeah, that's right. Because you lower your natural testosterone level, come in, say you got low testosterone, and then they give you a testosterone prescription. Exactly. I had this problem when I first went to get a TRT prescription ages ago at the beginning of this journey, and I had like a testosterone level of like 360, and they're like, oh, you have to have less, or maybe it was like, let's say it was like 300, and they're like, oh, you have to have less than 250 to get a prescription. Oh man. Yeah. So now I have to take D-ball and crash my testosterone and then go back and get a prescription again. But at least in that one, it was a one-time thing. Some people's doctors are so strict with it that they make you come back with blood work every month. And then it's really hard to fake your test levels to get a prescription. And then they want to make sure your test levels don't go too high. They keep you like in the mid range instead of letting you go higher. That's terrible, but that's more rare. These testosterone clinics are opening up now and being more flexible.
Tony, what do you think about using 5 milligrams D-ball as the test base and then using ACP105 or Vasculine? That has a much better binding affinity. D-ball has one of the worst binding affinities. So basically all of the 5 milligrams of D-ball will be converted into methyl estradiol. Do you think it would make it less liver toxic as well?
Okay, so 5 milligrams of D-ball is very...
Plus like 40 milligrams of ACP105, let's say.
And what is I don't know the normal dosage of ACP105, like how much?
It's similar to AC262 dosage-wise.
So the question is 40 milligrams of this SARM enough to saturate the receptors to where the D-ball can't bind to the androgen receptors and therefore spills over and gets converted to estrogen without actually attaching the androgen receptor? Probably you could fit more than 40 milligrams of a SARM on your androgen receptors. Probably it's not going to be kicking D-ball off the receptor.
Well, like I know that D-ball, I've heard anadrol has a worse binding affinity than D-ball, but I've heard D-ball has like one of the worst binding affinities, and SARMs, as you know, have high binding affinities, and ACP105 isn't liver toxic. And to me, like that sounds like a good source of estrogen if you're like on a SARM only cycle and you start to run out of natural estrogen.
Yeah, like this is a good way to get estrogen up, and it doesn't take very much of it. And the low dosage of D-ball you can use for this purpose is not really that liver toxic. So yes.
Yeah, I mean, NAC would fix that, right? People really need Topical. Okay.
Right. Yep. Valid strategy. Good strategy. Definitely not the kind of thing you see in an old school protocol. Definitely like a new age thing. It doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It just means a lot of people just don't know about this approach to it. What do you got there?
This is ACP105 spray on my hair. I use Masteron, extremely fucked for hair loss, and I'm extremely prone to hair loss. And this completely prevented, like, I'd say 99%. I probably lost like a tiny bit of hair, but I was like religiously putting it on. And I strongly recommend it for anyone who wants to go on a hair cycle and has hair loss issues, but wants to use safer compounds that aren't exactly hair safe.
This is amazing. I mean, this is some of us would take SARMs oral, and what I do sometimes too is take like Rad 140, for example, is not very androgenic, but very anabolic. And we see in the prostate that it can actually reverse prostate growth and reverse prostate disease and bring
Yeah.
the prostate specific antigen down. And the same thing would make sense for the scalp.
Well, how come like Brad Harding, for example, got hair loss on Rad 140, and like more place more data says that like Rad 140 is definitely not hair safe?
Yeah, it's possible. There's so many different pathways. So one pathway is the DHT receptor. Another one is blood pressure, blood flow, anxiety. So Rad 140 can make some people anxious. For some people, it's a good thing. Some people need a little bit of anxiety to get their, energy and motivation up. But for other people, it can cause a little extra stress on the body, which could result in something like hair loss. So that's one possible pathway. But yeah, some people also use Rad 140 and say that they don't lose any hair. So this is one of those things where
would have to use finasteride, or
yeah, I mean, finasteride with Rad 140 is one way that Dakota and the group. This is one way we treated his hair loss was Rad 140 plus finasteride, and it worked really well.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, in May I'm about to go on a trend-like cycle where it would be 600 milligrams MPP plus 4 milligrams sublingual Rad 140 under the tongue, and then probably use like HMG as my estrogen source. And then maybe Superdrol once a week for 16 weeks, lean bulk, and then probably IGF LR3 with metformin. Yeah.
Oh, solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, solid. Oh, and another thing we should use this for, like, is if you have a topic that you want Leo and I to research or do, then I can start making a list of that. So you guys can all think about what you want to request of Leo and I, and then like I'll sit down with him for an hour and I'll go through the questions and pick ones to do videos on type thing.
I think topical SARMs, especially topical ACP105 and AC262, I would say those are the most hair safe ones. Apart from S4, but S4 has an eyesight issue that most people don't want. Yeah, like I've had extreme success, and I'm extremely prone to hair loss. Like before I even touched gear, I had to go on finasteride at the age of 20. Yeah.
Wow. How did you even come up with the idea to go on finasteride at age 20? Because you had hair loss, and then you were researching.
I was receding. Yeah, I had like a whole thing where I was like freaking out because I was like losing my hair at 20. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then all the guys in my family are all bald, like slick bald. So yeah.
When you took finasteride, did you get any side effects of low DHT?
No. Which I just got gynecomastia because DHT itself is like masteron, where it actually like attaches to the breast tissue in some way, and it has anti-estrogen effects on the breast tissue. But
Oh yeah,
I
for
got
sure.
a bit of gyno.
Yeah, for sure. This is my problem too. I'm gonna get the gyno surgery, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Hey, look, it's Straight Cody in the house.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Okay, and Junior just turned his video on, so I'm going to add him to the stream. Okay, so we covered so far Aaron about ipamorelin, then Ben spraying SARMs on his hair to grow his hair.
Yeah, Ben, did that help restore hair?
I would say if you have DHT and you're starting to get hair loss, you will 100% get regrowth, 100%, like no question. And I reckon if you use a natural test booster, you can literally like not be shut down and use this. And in my opinion, it's less side effects than finasteride, because finasteride, some guys can get low DHT symptoms with their penis and like their feeling in their penis. Personally, I don't have that, but I know that's a thing.
Yeah, I haven't tried the finasteride.
More so just preventing masteron from destroying my hair, basically.
Like a preventative.
Yeah, because masteron just like completely rapes hair, basically.
So it wasn't like a Rogaine solution where like you're like it's never.
I tried mainly on the beard, and it did crazy wonders for the beard.
I have tried that, but I didn't get that good of results.
I did a little bit on the hair and stuff, and
it
worked here and there.
Well, I think this is better than Rogaine personally, because Rogaine to me doesn't address the actual core issue of hair loss, which is androgenic hair loss. Yeah.
Right.
Whereas this actually addresses it at its core issue.
So Ben put in SARMs in the.
This is ACP105.
Was your hairline receding before or just thin?
So I was on finasteride before I touched gear, and then I went on dutasteride. I got even better results on dutasteride, and then I jumped to TRT, and then I was also mixing in a bit of Anavar, and then I realized I was starting to get back to what I was like before I even touched finasteride, and I was like, fuck, what do I do? And then I started researching more on like more places, more dates, and I was really looking into S4 at the time, and I was starting to spray S4. I originally was taking S4 orally, and then I realized like it's under 500 Daltons because I watched a more places, more dates video showing that you can put on your head, and then I started doing that, and then I could basically use Anadrol, I could use Anavar, I could use all the non-hair safe shit and not get hair loss. And to me, that was like an absolute game changer. And I think it's something that people need to actually be aware of, that because like a lot of guys will just use tests, only be allowed to use like Nandrolone or test only if they care about their hair and they have hair loss. And they aren't allowed to use like Primo or Masteron. Even though they're safe, they aren't allowed to use it because it's not hair safe.
I wanted to prevent hair loss, like it was Deca. Before you touched gear at all, did you had hair loss like even before?
Yeah, I was on dutasteride. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, your hair looks pretty good now, even your hairline. Like it looks thick and you don't have a receded hairline. Like
I could send you a photo of what it looks like.
Yeah, if you
and
could send before
before-
photos, that would be really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, I have a before photo. I'll try and show it on the camera.
I wonder what else you could add. Could add RU to the hairspray.
Yeah.
a little
I
bit.
actually think it's better than RU for several reasons. Because RU has a worse binding affinity than SARMs, and RU occupies the androgen receptor while having zero anabolism, whereas this is anabolic. So this would equal more muscle, and it has a stronger binding affinity than RU.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, it just seems to be better than RU in general.
You could put a little bit of dutasteride in there too. I say dutasteride because I think topically dutasteride works better than finasteride, but
I've heard
what
mixed
if you
things
put that
about dutasteride, topical dutasteride. Because if you actually look at the Dalton number, it's above 500. But then also, people have said that it actually works when you use it. So I don't know.
Yeah, dutasteride
Yeah.
less likely to go systemic because of its molar mass, right?
Yeah, I've heard good anecdotal stories from it. So
Right. It's interesting though, because you're using an anabolic to grow your hair, but typically anabolics are associated with hair loss, which I'm trying to wrap my head around.
that's what mine used to be at its worst. Before I started.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
before like a year before gear. This was a year before gear. This was my natural
Oh.
testosterone.
You're pretty
intake.
thin and kind of
Genetics.
lazy.
Yeah.
He had the hair loss
now-
genetic.
And every guy in my family's slick bald as well.
Every guy in your
Yeah.
family's bald?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
I started losing it at 20, at the age of 20.
So he's totally pioneering human evolution.
Yeah.
So my brother is 17, and he started putting ACP105 on his head, and just his like natural DHT levels was causing hair loss at the age of 17. Like he started getting regrowth from ACP105. Like, yeah, and we getting blood work with him. His test levels are good and everything. So yeah.
Wow.
All right. Okay, cool, Ben. All right. So how about who else has something interesting to say there? I'm curious about Junior because Junior's got like this gaming headphones, gaming chair. Are you a gamer?
Yeah, something like that, Tony. I want to talk to you about AC262.
Okay. Let's hear AC262. What do you think?
Yeah, so I started that, and then just like the muscle fullness within like 2 hours. Like took it and then worked out like 2 to 3 hours later, and the muscle fullness was like insane. What kind of things did you experience on 262?
Yeah. So the first experiments, actually a long time ago, we had people take it at a really low dosage, like 10 milligrams, and I didn't notice too much of it. I wasn't super excited about it. We had so many other SARMs at the time, like LGD and S23 that were so powerful. Didn't really need to add a new SARM just for novelty. But later when I circled back to it again and I said, well, let's try what SARMs work with bodybuilders already on cycle instead of adding more steroids. And that's when I started experimenting with it heavier. So like my first detailed experiments, isolated, isolating the variables were on bodybuilders on cycle. And it was like, instead of adding another steroid, we add AC262. Most people experience some increased aggression from it on 30 milligrams. So then I started playing around with the dosages and found like 20 milligrams was such a nice sweet spot for most people. I mean, yeah, if I have a bodybuilder who's on gear and they want to definitely feel it, then okay, 30 milligrams or more, then there's no question they're going to feel it. But if it's someone who's a little bit more, I don't want to take the risk and I don't want them to feel like anxiety and I don't want to crash their testosterone levels, then a lower dosage. But I was also surprised when I did blood work on it later on natties. We did blood work before and after AC262 at 10 milligrams and 20 milligrams, and I didn't see testosterone suppression. I throw in AC262 probably more than any other. AC262 and RAD140 are the SARMs that I use the most these days. But we had one of the guys in the group was on RAD140 and AC262, and his natural testosterone dropped in half. So in his case, I don't know which one it was, but neither are super suppressive. In his case, he was suppressed from it, and he was experiencing some symptoms of low testosterone.
Totally. In my opinion, I feel like RAD140 is kind of like in a completely different ballgame than AC262 and ACP105, in my opinion. The reason I say that is because just the amount of anecdotes I've seen online and just watching more plates, more days and stuff like that, I honestly see RAD140 more so as like gear. Like honestly, like where half a milligram of RAD140 will fully shut down your LH from, at least Russo says that as well. Whereas it seems like 10 milligrams to 20 milligrams of AC262 or ACP105, on top of having zero hair loss issues, don't fully shut down the LH and FSH production. And I think it has to do with the fact that they're partial agonist SARMs. So there's 3 partial agonist SARMs that I know of right now, which is S4-androgen, which has the obvious issue of eyesight issues, whereas the other 2, ACP105 and AC262, I think those are the next game changers in bodybuilding and also in longevity as well for people over the age of 50. I really think those 2 SARMs are the game changers that we're going to see in the next coming years.
Why do you think it's a game changer? Like, you think it's important that it's less suppressive so people don't have to take TRT with it? Is that the idea?
Yeah, so they could take a natural test booster like Greg just says G-Test, Sigma, or Ox. You got the Ox one, and your UCell natural test boosters. And I think that should be enough to have zero suppression, like literally zero, maybe even more, because SARMs lower SHBG, which means that you're gonna have more free tests. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an important point. Is people usually just measure their total test, and then like, oh, my test is low, but I feel great. And that's because their
SHBG.
total test doesn't really matter. What matters is their free test. Yeah, people need to.
I will say though, the thing about low SHBG is that if you aren't using something like palmetto or finasteride or dutasteride, you're gonna have a lot more free DHT than free testosterone. Yeah, because DHT binds more to SHBG than testosterone.
Yeah, there's so much talk about dutasteride, finasteride. Everybody forgot about saw palmetto. I mean, saw palmetto is really effective.
It's effective.
Yeah,
Actually,
yes. You're not trying to crash. We're not trying to. Yeah, we don't usually get DHT to 0 because then we have DHT side effects. We just want to lower DHT, and saw palmetto does that. So it's actually safer for most people to just use saw palmetto because then they're not going to worry about actually crashing it too low.
Is there any research that shows that it would reduce the size of the prostate? Saw palmetto?
I'm sure it would, just by the nature of what it does.
Yeah. I did just do a quick search for studies on saw palmetto for lowering PSA, which would be an easy way to tell if it's blocking the effects of DHT on the prostate. And yeah, there's obviously a lot of studies on it. I mean, I assume that there were, but just to verify, yes, there are.
So more saw palmetto then.
Yeah. Would you take saw? Is that something you might incorporate?
I mean, the thing is, like, I don't really notice any like issues with my prostate. But is that something that you would just notice? Like, you would probably have a difficult time urinating, right? That's kind of
if you want to see what it feels like to have a perfect prostate, you can take doxycycline. It'll relax your prostate, and then you'll be like, if you have a better orgasm and you can pee better and just everything works better, like, oh, maybe my prostate was a little swollen. I didn't even know it because I didn't have anything to compare it to. So I have some, so I give it to you. Remind me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tony, something that I can say about this is that when I was on my gear cycle with Masteron, which is obviously not good for the prostate, right? I was also like on Anavar and Anadrol, like pre-workout sublingual. That's when I had to pee really frequently because my prostate was obviously bigger and it was going against my bladder. And now that I'm literally just taking AC262 and occasionally having shots of test as a source of estrogen. And now like I can tell my prostate is like way smaller. Number one, because I'm regaining hair back from the cycle, even though I was spraying shit on my hair. And yeah, I'm peeing so infrequently now. But when I do pee, it's like a low pee, but I prefer obviously peeing less frequently.
Yeah. The peeing frequently could also be like blood sugar issues as well. Like if you're really, really high calories, you get a bit of like pre-diabetes going, right? Insulin response.
I'm on berberine because I did do MK677 as well, but yeah.
Okay.
If it's effective on the prostate, then it's highly likely effective on the hair follicle.
Exactly.
I will say that I find so the connection between the growing of the prostate and how androgenic it is versus hairline. I would say, the more you recede, the more your prostate is going to grow, the more androgenic it is. The only thing that's stopping me from fully making that statement is 2 compounds. It's Rad 140 and it's Superdrol. Because Superdrol seems extremely androgenic as a compound. Yeah. But the thing is, it's actually one of the best compounds in the DHT compounds for hair loss, which is interesting. Yeah. And then Rad 140 doesn't grow prostate that much, but it seems quite androgenic by the feeling it gives you strength. Like strength is generally connected to androgenicity of a compound as well. Yeah. So
can I ask you a question? I just did a cycle and I did test intetate. I think the intetate was 250, the cypionate was 200, and I did trend 200. Well, hell, I got them right here. You want me to show them to you?
Yeah, we'd like to see. We'd like to look at steroids. That's we should all probably just get on here and show our steroid collection.
Do I not do that? I'm sorry. No.
Just tell us you have a prescription for it first, like Ben did.
Is that a beginner's dose or?
No, that dose, that's plenty for you. It looks like you got some extra body fat though. And with Tren, you kind of see the magic from Tren when you get leaner. I mean, you can use Tren to get leaner and you can use Tren to diet really hard and still maintain some strength and fullness and be very anti-catabolic. So in your situation, I'd say Tren would be great. You need a probably much lower dosage. You're probably over the law of diminishing returns where the side effects are going to come in more, but it depends on how you respond to it. And then also we've done some videos about like the long-term effects of Tren on the brain. Probably better to take breaks and let your brain neurotoxic. Yeah. So it's fine doing things that are neurotoxic in short periods of time. Totally fine. A lot of things are neurotoxic, but being on a large dosage for a long period of time, probably not worth it. But you can use Tren to lose fat and get cut because you can help you train harder. And especially if you're in a massive caloric deficit. So for P-Rich, if you're like really cutting calories and you're like fasting and carb cycling, and then Tren probably worth it. Otherwise, probably not worth it. And probably you could drop the dosage down.
What would you recommend? I'm about 260 pounds, 26% body fat.
DNP and Adderall. Just take that that for like a couple of months.
Cody's trying to get us.
I recommend training with
Say that?
and a high body fat percentage. I don't know. Seems kind of dangerous.
Well, you get very hot burning a lot of fat. I like DMP for the higher body fat, and then I don't like it as much for as you get leaner.
And the Adderall, like you take that every day, just a normal dosage, and you won't really want to eat, and you'll just kind of want to do stuff.
I would say liraglutide, semaglutide are probably safer than Adderall.
As appetite suppressants, yeah, there's no real side effect of liraglutide and semaglutide.
I have a buddy who got really lean while smoking nicotine vape pens. So it suppresses appetite and it increased his energy levels as well. And he lost about 20 pounds on that.
That's good because every time you have a craving, you can puff on the vape pen, but the vape pen only lasts like up to 30 minutes, just like a cigarette, whereas the gum lasts a couple hours. So it might be more convenient. This is 2 milligram gum.
Right.
So
So if you're like a person who like really gets off on the dopamine release from eating and gorging yourself on food, rather than going to gorge your food, hit the pen a little bit, get the dopamine release from the nicotine, and maybe that will override the hunger.
I would talk about adding in the cardarine and just hitting the cardio heavy.
For sure, that too. Cardarine, yohimbine. Although is yohimbine effective if you're like have a lot of fat, or only if you just want to lose that last little bit?
I mean, yohimbine is always effective, but it beats all the other stimulants for someone who's already low body fat, and it's really not any better than any other.
Except alpha yohimbine. Alpha yohimbine just seems to be cleaner of a compound, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, like less potential nausea, shaking, anxiety.
Yeah, and also like it's more effective at lower dose as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's 3 times more powerful for fat loss. Yeah, per milligram.
I was wondering your thoughts on XR 9009 versus cardarine. Actually, that injectable.
Oh, injectable. Yeah.
Versus
Yeah.
cardarine. Which one do you think is better?
Cardarine is better for like all day adapting, becoming more fat adapted and having more energy. SR 9009 maybe, yeah, half-life is one major factor. They work on different pathways. You can actually use them together.
Really?
Synergistic.
I thought it was similar pathways.
No, different pathways.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yep.
I heard that you could do something with your circadian rhythm with SR.
Yep. You take it first thing in the morning to reset your circadian rhythm, which is one of the massive benefits
Interesting.
of it. Yeah.
Okay.
And Leo's tries to remind me all the time to take my SR 9011 first thing in the morning because it resets your circadian rhythm. So when you wake up and you take the SR 9009 or 9011, it sends this signal like, okay, now I'm awake, and like the pendulum theory, more awake in the daytime and then more asleep at night.
Okay.
Versus your body can't figure out because of the unnatural lights, because of stress and too much stimulation and not having normal sleep hours that match the sun and the moon. You got to reset it chemically.
Do you sleep with curtains closed?
Yeah, I turn the air conditioning way up. I make it very black, dark. I put earplugs in. I do everything.
You know what really works is like I leave my curtains open so that when I wake up, the sun wakes me up.
Do you wake up with the sun though?
I would say most of the time, although it's kind of more like when the sun is brighter, not when it first rises, but when it's
Because the only thing I would say against that is that I've heard that if you're sleeping and the light is on you, that's actually like it confuses your body somewhat, so you won't get like deeper sleep that way.
I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. I don't know.
I wouldn't be able to sleep if the sun was coming on me.
Yeah. Same for me.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure I
switch
wake
up.
up when like the sun is bright.
A lot of evidence about the rays that you get during the morning sun, like right at dawn, or what's going to help reset your circadian rhythm, wake you up in the morning, and then tell your body at nighttime, whenever you see the dusk time rays, tells your body that it's night, start producing melatonin and go to sleep.
Yeah, like also just avoiding blue light in general at nighttime. Yeah.
Right.
Like I do double night shift on my laptop and then just listen to a podcast and go to sleep usually.
I remember seeing something where they did a study. It's not just about seeing the light; it's also the light on the skin, like
Inside the ears.
light inside the ears. Huh?
I heard something that there's some I don't know, piece of the ear, piece of the ocular canal that recognizes the position of the sun. I guess at what degrees it is, and tells your body, it's kind of like an internal time clock, tells your body what time of the day it is. So that's another interesting one. I haven't read too deep into it. I just heard that once or twice.
How crazy is it that our spirit, our soul is inside this machine for which we don't have an instruction manual, for which we're learning through trial and error how all these mechanisms in our body work, and kind of like building the instruction manual. And most people don't have any instruction manual or any idea. They're running purely on the reptilian brain. And now we have
caffeine
to write all of this. I was thinking we should build like the instruction manual, the human instruction manual.
Tony, I think that every woman after menopause should be on Estrofem and like 10 milligrams of ACP105 or ACP262.
Estrofem is what? Just
Estrofem is ethinyl estradiol, which is just replacing the estrogen, because after menopause, their estrogen crashes and their chance of heart disease goes by 10 times higher.
Can that be used as birth control?
Well, I mean, menopause, that's natural birth control if you think about it.
No, but like birth control like replaces estrogen essentially, so that right?
So most birth control is like an analog of nandrolone and a small dose of ethinyl estradiol. But Estrofem is like 2 milligrams Whereas most birth control was like 35 micrograms of ethinyl estradiol.
Alex Matrezki took S4 for a year with
Estrofen.
birth control.
Yeah. No, but it's not just regular birth control. He specifically took 2 milligrams of, or 1 milligram as a guy, right, of estrofen, which is different than the ones with other shit in it that is as suppressive as tren.
I guess my main question is, could like women use that as birth control instead of like the other pills and like get the avoid the
Estrofen?
side effects? Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. I can't. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to take that risk, right?
Yeah. I would just say hormone replacement therapy for women after menopause, since they are literally shut the fuck down and they have zero estrogen, and estrogen is neuroprotective as fuck.
As far as estrogen being neuroprotective too, we were talking with Leo about this. Like for bodybuilders want to crash their estrogen. I'll summarize like when good videos topics that we've already covered come up in the meat of it, since some of them are long. But you can replace the neuroprotective benefits of estrogen with serotonin. So like you can take it if you wanted to crash estrogen for the purpose of getting shredded.
Or 5-HTP.
Problem with 5-HTP is very short acting and can downregulate serotonin. So like a low dosage SSRI or something like this, which
like
has its drawbacks.
Leo really likes SSRIs.
The thing you have to be aware of with SSRIs and 5-HTP is that it should never ever be taken with alpha yohimbine or yohimbine.
Why is that?
That's interesting. Haven't heard that before. Why is that?
Yeah, because they are MAOI inhibitors, or like MAOIs, and MAOIs should never ever be taken with shit that interacts with serotonin in general. Same with MDMA. You should never take Ribosine with MDMA.
But is it as strong as a pharmaceutical MAOI?
I just know that MAOIs can be incredibly dangerous. You can get serotonin syndrome, essentially. This is the big issue with biohacking, is that you're on all this stuff that one fuck up, it's like, you know, and this coming from a guy who's on 50 pills right now, you know.
Yeah, this is the risk with an SSRI is, but there's a lot of things that increase serotonin. For example, cheese. I have a friend who's very sensitive to serotonin, and every time he eats cheese, he gets symptoms of high serotonin or serotonin syndrome. So yeah, there's a lot of things.
Pupils dilating.
This is one of the reasons why I came off of fluvoxamine. I was on fluvoxamine, just low dosage at night. And one problem is that it disables the enzyme that breaks down caffeine. So then caffeine, even one cup of coffee, is still in your system and interfering with your sleep at night. So like,
it increases the half-life of caffeine.
Yeah. And so then the problem is, wow, if it starts interacting with other drugs like this, and I take so many drugs, now I like taking short acting drugs that don't interact too much with each other. That way I can do lots of experiments in a shorter period of time. But when I start taking a drug that all of a sudden is going to change the way that all of the other drugs work, now I'm really limited in the experiments that I can do. So that's why I came off the fluvoxamine. And also the risk, like Ben was talking about, of when you're on an SSRI, then anything else that increased serotonin, now you can have too much serotonin.
Yeah, that really is the problem. Like if you're on an SSRI, like before anything you take, you have to like check, like, can I take
like condom? You can't take condoms. Well,
that's right. So it's kind of annoying. But I guess it depends what you would need it for. If the pros outweigh the cons, I guess.
Tony, I have a controversial opinion. I think no one should be using tren unless they literally are about to be in the top 3 of a bodybuilding comp, and they're sub 10%. Otherwise, like, I see no reason why tren should be used, when instead of tren, they could use what I said before, a bunch of MPP or DECA with Rab140 as pre-workout, and you'll get basically the exact same shit without it being kidney toxic. Rab140 is neuroprotective instead of being neurotoxic. Like, you know, like I just don't see the point in tren use unless because tren is the only steroid that uniquely preserves muscle in a cut. So in my opinion, if you're not using it for that purpose exclusively to win a competition, it shouldn't be used at all.
Yeah, that's generally my approach. If someone's already using tren, usually I cut their dosage back, and I do agree with that. I do agree with that, Ben. Except for that, if you're super lean and you want to use it for a short period of time, or you want to diet really hard, there's some advantages. Like I said, it's pretty super anti-catabolic, but there's other things that can replace it. It's kind of like, I think of tren as like an all-in-one though. So like if you want to replace tren, you got to take a few other things. Oh, look, Elon jumped on. I didn't even know that. He saw it and then he came on later, even though I deleted the post. Look at that. Welcome to
what up.
But yeah, Ben, generally I agree with the tren approach.
Do you think 9009 is better or worse than 9011?
I think it's a question of absorption mostly, right? Isn't 9011 more orally bioavailable?
I thought both, but not orally bioavailable when you had to inject into the fat. That's what I thought.
Okay, that's another thing to research again. And I need to take it. See, is it too late? See, it's 11 a.m. It's too late for me to take my SR. You know?
Oh, it's too late.
Even though I just
resetting. Yeah, because you say you had to take it when you wake up, right?
Yeah, I'm giving you 1,000 baht, Werewolf. So you got to bring back change because I don't have smaller. Buy alcohol is what she's going to try to get these girls off of alcohol and onto better drugs. But, you know, alcohol is just so widely available. They always go back to it.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say the best like recreational drugs of use, I would say, wouldn't involve benzos, opiates in general because they're physically addictive. And like it would mainly be like like mushrooms, LSD, ketamine, what else? Like that is physically addictive, weed,
Wait, what was the one you
Pregnant
said
baby.
before weed? The one before weed?
alcohol.
Okay.
Alcohol.
But I'm an Australian. Everyone in Australia has alcohol. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
a
it's nothing
different
wrong with
culture in
a
Australia.
couple drinks on the weekend, I think.
I drink
Okay.
twice a week, and I always have Topical after.
Yeah.
And it helps with my hangover.
Wait,
So,
what
yeah.
else? Okay, what else? Then alcohol, then weed. I'm seeing if I've taken
Ketamine,
all of these things this week
shrooms,
so far.
LSD this week.
Yeah. Everything you mentioned, I took this week.
What about jungle juice?
What's junk?
What's jungle juice?
Oh, really? It's poppers. I just use it in clubs, and like chicks fucking love it. So
No, I don't use that.
I really like that. I hate it with weed. I like it with alcohol though.
I'm nervous about
Weed's-
brain damage from that. But you sound like you research this stuff a lot, so you would know, right?
There isn't. I would say it's been around since the 70s, and a lot of people have used it consistently since the 70s.
A lot of people have died since the 70s. So which one's a lot of drugs?
What about this one, Tony? Nitrous oxide.
Oh, that's another one I don't know about. Oh, geez.
Well, have you
In my opinion, that's 100% safe because they give it to 5-year-olds for an hour straight with oxygen, laughing gas.
Mm.
The only thing is that every time you take it, I'd recommend taking it with B12 because it makes you B12 deficient.
Oh, that's interesting. So Corvus says, wait, what's a popper? So I forget the chemical name.
Amyl nitrate. I would say nitrous oxide is definitely one of the safest drugs, though, for sure. It's been around for 300 years.
Ben is like a party consultant.
Hairline as well. That's also my specialty. Yeah.
So I was gonna ask you.
Oh man, yeah, there we go.
How
Let's
you
see what-
reconstituted the that formula?
Literally just water, straight up water, and it's 12 ounces.
And how many
So I put
milligrams?
half a gram of either AC262 or ACP105 or S4. But remember, S4 will have the eyesight. So yeah.
You could add to it, Ben, but at least like a little bit of aloe vera juice, which would also, be good and healthy for the skin.
Why
help absorb
aloe
fluid.
vera? Oh, help.
Well,
absorption?
you're spraying the SARM on the skin, and you check the Dalton, so you know whether it's going to pass through the skin or not. But
Yeah.
you'd probably get more like deeper into the hair follicle if you put alcohol or aloe vera or DMSO or 3 effective things for
Alcohol.
transporting little things a little bit further. And you're not
Is
worried
it-
about
does
excess.
alcohol age your skin?
It dries out the skin. Yeah, alcohol is not the preference, but it's in a lot of the products that we use, and people don't even realize it. So people are already using tons of alcohol. That's why aloe vera might, in this situation, be my preference.
Aloe
because
vera?
the alcohol dries out the hair, and it doesn't look as good. But aloe vera would look good.
Has aloe vera in it, which is like sun gel, like after
Exactly, and that's usually it's pure aloe vera. You can just put that
some
in
of
your
that
sprayer.
in there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you recommend that?
Yeah.
Also you can you should also get a roller, and especially so I have. If you look at my hairline, my issue spot is like right here. Yeah.
Mhm.
Compared to like the side, yeah, like I'd say right here is where I have my issue spot. So I usually always do it like that.
Is it a microneedler?
Usually I'm too lazy. Yeah, micro needling. Yeah.
It's really hard to keep up with the process of microneedling like once a week. It's hard to keep doing it. It's kind of
Yeah.
annoying.
I honestly haven't used this for like 3 months. I
Yeah.
literally just spray it. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, since I'm taking SARMs orally and I'm no longer on my gear cycle and all that gear is out of my system, I haven't been spraying because I'm just taking it orally now. And yeah, like Tony, I just want to say I'm on 20 milligrams of AC262 and I have been for about 8 weeks. And from my gear cycle, that was like test, mass, like nothing like trend. Like not that big, like insane of a cycle, right? My HDL went from like 0.7 to 1.9. Yeah.
How?
from 8 weeks of AC262.
Your HDL went up on AC262.
Yeah, just from not touching gear anymore. And,
From not
just
touching.
going on
I see.
AC262.
So from
Yeah.
not touching gear, your HDL went up, and AC262 doesn't suppress your HDL.
The heart stuff as well. Like I'm on 20 milligrams Telmisartan, but when I was on my gear cycle, I was on 40 milligrams Telmisartan. Citrus bergamot, I'm on ubiquinol with Shilajit. I'm with cardarine once a week pre-cardio. It's also 5 milligrams pre-workout CLs, sublingual. I think that's it. Tony, I think that TRT should 100% be replaced by HMG solo therapy with either ACP105 or AC262.
Yeah,
HMG is more expensive.
That's a controversial take. I know that's a
It's a
controversial
very
take.
controversial thing, and I actually agree a lot. But on the other hand, TRT itself is great. The bottom line is take something. A day natty is a day wasted.
I just think for PSA and cholesterol, it would be far better on the HMG and SARM. Yeah.
Depending on what SARM, yeah. Depending on dose.
Yeah, I would say I'm talking about in particular those two SARMs. Like I'm not talking about like S23, which is basically like taking gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good approach. All right, cool guys. Cody and I are going to do some videos now. This is helpful to me. You piqued my interest about some things. So
Been watching your content for like a few years now, and I just saw also this is like a very underrated thing in the biohacking sphere.
let's all give Ben a round of applause for showing us topical SARMs spray kind of thing that I was excited. You know, out of the blue.
Derek has a couple videos on it. I can send you if you want.
And send those before pictures too. If you're
Yeah. I have my Instagram there. If you add me, I'll literally message you everything. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do, Ben.
Yeah. Bye.
Awesome. This was fun. A day natty is a day wasted.